wildlife shooter just like me, you might be thinking, okay, well, what cameras should I use? And if you're leaning towards the professional cameras, like a 1D Mark IV or a 1DX, you might be wondering, well, which one is better, or which one can I save some money on picking up? So I've scoured the internet for finding what the difference is between these two and came up with nothing on YouTube. So since I own both of these bodies, we'll talk a little about them and decide if you want to go with the 1DX or with the 1D Mark IV. I've used the 1DX for a few months now, but I've owned my 1D Mark IV for the last 4 years. I had this and a 5D Mark II. So for anything wildlife photo, this was my go-to, and I absolutely love this camera. Even though I have the 1DX, this is still my go-to, and I'm never selling this camera. Like, never. This is, even though it's 16 megapixels, it does almost everything that I need it to do. So we're just gonna go specs, 1DX to 1D Mark IV. 1D Mark IV introduced in 2009, 1DX introduced in 2012. 1D Mark IV, 16.1 megapixels, 1DX, 18.1 megapixels. 1D Mark IV, APS-H 1.3 times sensor, so it's not full frame, it's 1.3 instead of the APS-C 1.6. 1DX is full frame. 2 card slots, one is a CF card, compact flash, the second is a SD card. 1DX has a compartment for 2 compact flashes. 1D Mark IV has 45-point autofocus. 1DX has 61-point autofocus with multiple cases for helping to track almost any subject. The 1D Mark IV maximum shutter fire is 10 frames per second. The 1DX maximum shutter fire speed is 12 frames per second, but can be upgraded to 14 frames per second if you use JPEGs and manual focusing. The 1D Mark IV has a 3-inch clear view screen that is polarized. The 1DX has a 3.2-inch clear view 2 screen that is also polarized. Both the 1DX and the 1D Mark IV can record 1080p movies at, I believe, 24 and 30 frames per second. There's no 60 frames per second recording for it. So you might be saying to yourself, okay, it's 2021, the 1D Mark IV came out in 2009, so it's quite a few years old. Why would you still want something that's 16 megapixels? Well, it produces really, really sharp photos when you shoot RAW. You can do 10 frames per second, captures really nice photos. And still, this is my go-to, even with the 1DX. Sometimes I grab this one. The things I love about this camera versus the 1DX is when you look through the viewfinder, you have that red dot. If you're familiar with older Canon EOS cameras, like say 5D Mark II, 7D, T3i, T5i, older cameras before the newer ones came out had, when you look through the viewfinder and you focus, there's a little red LED for each of the focus points that you use to focus through the lens. I don't know if I'm being clear on this, but when you focus, you see the red dot showing that you have perfect focus. The 1DX got rid of that. Even with firmware like 212, they do the boxes now, and when you focus on something, there's a red, like, it's not a dot as the 1D Mark IV, it's the whole viewfinder that lights up red. And it blinks because it's the square boxes, like on newer cameras, is what this one uses. It's so annoying trying to focus on something when it gets darker, or even in bright sunlight. You can't see exactly what's in focus with the boxes. That's my biggest gripe with this. Additionally, what this thing has going for it is the polarization of the screen. So this screen is polarized in a way that if you have polarized sunglasses on and you take your picture, you can review the picture on your camera. I know, sounds crazy, like I'm speaking a different language. For some reason, when Canon polarized this screen, if you have polarized sunglasses, you cannot see your screen. It's not even funny, because when you take a picture, you have to lift up your sunglasses and take a look at the screen because you can't see it. It's totally black, unless you use an extreme angle like this to see your photos. So if you're wearing sunglasses, good luck seeing if your picture is sharp because you're not seeing anything. That is my absolute biggest gripe, because most of the time I'm wearing sunglasses out in the field with my big 400mm lens, and I don't know if I took the picture and if it's in focus. I have to take off the sunglasses to look at the screen, which I'm not a fan of. So one of my biggest gripes with this camera is that you cannot add a GPS unit. Now, I like geotagging just to see where I took some photos, especially if I'm traveling, even for wildlife. But there's almost no way to attach a GPS unit to this. You can, but it's just pointless at this point, because through this port you can attach the Canon wireless transfer module that sits over here, attaches here. It gives you an Ethernet port, Wi-Fi I believe, for transfer, and there's a micro or a mini USB port like on the camera that you can attach a USB unit to that. However, it's not a Canon unit, no. You use that cord to attach like a Garmin unit, a really old Garmin like tracker GPS for when you're outside in the wilderness, one of those handheld ones. Yeah, you can attach to the camera, but where do you mount it? So no way are you gonna attach a GPS to this camera, which is sad because I love this camera. So now that that's out of the way, why would you want to consider a 1DX? Well, the 1DX, even though it's about twice the price of what the 1D Mark IV is going for, it's a bit heavier, it's bigger. Some of the cool things that this has that one doesn't have: a GPS port where you can instantly plug in their, I think it's a $100 GPS unit. I use this, my favorite feature, works super well. That's one reason to upgrade. Second reason is if you do a lot of wedding photography, photojournalism, you got a lot of files, maybe sports, Ethernet port right here, you can transfer all your files super quick, much faster than USB or even using a CF card reader. That's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is if you're shooting just a lot of various subjects or wildlife, these cases that they have in here for autofocus, I've been able to get shots with this camera that I would not have otherwise been able to get with the 1D4. This autofocus on the 1D4 is fantastic, but this one takes it to a whole new level. So much quicker, so much, you can calibrate the autofocus to exactly what you want. Exactly to a T. You can calibrate it. There's so many options of what you want it to do and what you don't want it to do. You can calibrate it here. Just the button placement. They give you 2 more buttons that you can set up to do whatever, compared to just the depth of field preview that I don't believe you can control this. I haven't been in the custom settings for a while, so maybe they let you. This one you can set it to whatever you want. Have a button here, a white balance button up here that you don't have on here, although I don't use it much. Still there. 1DX gives you the live view button right here instead of using the set button on here. Yes, the metering on the 1DX is much better than the 1D Mark IV. They have a separate processor that just handles the metering, so metering is spot on. I always shoot RAW, but with this camera I can shoot JPEGs if I wanted to, and have the exposure be right on to where I won't need to mess with it in post, because it's just always spot on, even if you set it to say 1 below, -1 for exposure, this is gonna nail it 100% of the time. One last thing to consider if you're considering the 1D Mark IV 1DX is the crop. This is a 1.3 crop. This is full frame. Now, if you don't know what you want yet, I'll post pictures right after this that will show what a picture at a focal length looks like in full frame versus the crop will give you much longer range with your lenses, like a sort of like a APS-C camera. The 1DX, whatever your focal length is, that's what you get. This has come in handy so many times that it's just crazy. Especially if you add an extender on your lens, you get some really nice close pictures. Hopefully this video was helpful for you to decide if you want the 1DX, which I would recommend to a majority of you. You can get them for really, really cheap, and they last a whole long time. But if you need the features or the speed that this one can provide, the 1DX might be for you. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. I'll try and answer them as quick as possible to help you out of which camera you should buy, and hope you have a good one.